so it's a little different. This is my first in-person interview, and we're at PNC Field, and I'm with Aaron McGarity, right? McGarity?
Yep.
And he plays for New York Yankees for the minor league team. They're Railriders. And yeah, thanks so much for today's game. I really appreciate it.
Happy to. No, this is an exciting. I love to have a little pregame interview and chop it up a little bit, talk about some baseball.
Absolutely. Like, were you part of the Railriders in April, right?
Yes. So I didn't make the opening day roster. There was a little bit of a roster crunch happening coming out of spring training, and some guys moving up and down. So I wasn't sure where I would end up come season. But then the front office guys called me in and let me know I was going to Scranton on the last day of spring training.
Like, were you like surprised when you got called up to the Railriders?
I was pleasantly surprised. I had a feeling I would go to either AA or AAA, being that I threw pretty well in AA last year. And that I'm getting a little bit older, so I had a feeling that they wanted to test me a little bit. And then I didn't make the roster. Then they added me a couple of days later, so it was a pleasant surprise.
Amazing. Like, were you like drafted by the Yankees?
Yes, the Yankees drafted me in 2017. I got my degree from Virginia Tech, and then they drafted me.
Oh, Virginia Tech is a good baseball team now.
Yeah, they weren't so good when I was there, but you know, obviously every program has some struggles and some ups and downs. And we were on the downtrend when I was there, but yeah, they definitely have turned it around with the new head coach, Coach Shepp, and he's done a tremendous job with the program.
Like, how do you think like playing for Virginia Tech kind of helped you grow as a pitcher and stuff? I know like playing for the Railriders, it can definitely be a struggle, especially the Yankees. The Yankees are such a big team, and the Yankees are just like 127 rings. Like, how does it feel to kind of be part of the team?
It feels great. There couldn't be a better organization to have your minor league career with. They care a lot about your development and how you're progressing as a player. And you know, college prepared me for this as well. I don't think I would have been mature enough to come out of high school and be a professional about the game of baseball. I think it would have been difficult for me. So to have that stepping stone and that important process going to college and knowing how to create some time management skills and you know, complete tasks and just being a professional about you know, day in and day out and how you structure your routine. So yeah, college was a huge part of my development as a player, as a person.
Yeah, like was your Virginia Tech was your number one option? Did you have like different schools you choose? Because like with the baseball process in terms of choosing schools, it can be a very hard process in terms of picking what school you want to go to. Because my brother's a baseball player and wants to go to college D1 and play in MLB. So I know like with him, he's trying to get drafted and all of these things. So how did you kind of find the process of getting drafted and going to a school like Virginia Tech?
Yeah, so it's an interesting process when you're getting recruited to go to a college. Some colleges will be very upfront with you. If they really want you, they'll come right at you, and you know they'll see you on a Tuesday. So for Virginia Tech, to give you a more concrete example, they saw me pitch on a Friday. They had me up there the following weekend, 8 days later, at Virginia Tech on campus, and then that's where they offered me 8 days later. So it was a very quick, concise process, and if a school wants you, they'll be very upfront about it.
Yes.
And then there's some instances where, you know, I was in talks with VCU at the time, talks with, I believe, George Mason as well. So other schools that were, you know, maybe not as interested in me, but kind of keeping me at arm's length to, you know, maybe if I get a little bit better, they'll take the opportunity to offer me. But Virginia Tech came right forward and offered me a little bit of a scholarship, and it was easy to say yes to them because both my parents went there as well, and I've been going to football games since I was a kid. And, I loved Blacksburg, so it was a very easy decision to say yes to them.
Wait, were you born in Virginia?
I was. I'm from Richmond, Virginia, about 3 hours from where Virginia Tech is in Blacksburg, Virginia. And, yeah, like I said, I've been growing up, going to that campus and spending some time there. So it's been, yeah, it was a very, very pleasant and easy decision to make to say yes.
Especially with Virginia, because Virginia is such a beautiful state. I have some family down there, and like, even though like Virginia Tech and like the whole state are different times, like I know like, with going to college in, let's just say Virginia, I know like a lot of people like to stay in their home state for college based off of like tuition. I know it can be a lot of cost less money for state school. Was that like a big consideration for you, like going to state school?
It was a consideration. but it wasn't a major factor in my decision making. Obviously, you get that in-state tuition; it's a little bit less expensive for you to fund your trip there to university. But for me, it was more a my parents had been there, and I had such close ties to the university that, and then it didn't hurt that the finances were correct as well. So all in all, on every single box that you can really check, when you're being recruited, Virginia Tech checked those boxes for me in my process.
Yeah, definitely. It's like, I grew up in Pennsylvania. Like, my family, all my family went to Penn State. I know with a lot of people, they're like, oh, you should go to Penn State. I know my family's big on going to Penn State for me, especially since I plan on majoring in communications. Since I hope Penn State's going to be communications school. So I know that my family's like, oh, you got to go to Penn State. Like, it's British, and like, I know, like, with having family there, this is kind of like a pass down going to Virginia Tech, let's just say, keep your hands within when there's kind of passing down to your kids.
Yeah, no, it's true. It definitely aids in the decision if you have some ties there already.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like, how old were you when you first started playing baseball?
How old was I when I started playing baseball? I went the entire Little League route through T-ball. So at 4 or 5 years old, you start playing T-ball and you never really look back. You're playing Little League for those first few years, or at least I did, and then you start playing travel ball when you're around 10, 11, 12. You have a few years on the little field, as they call it, and then when you get to middle school, you play for the middle school team, which can sometimes be good or sometimes not be. I played for a travel team and a middle school team, and then when you get to high school, it's you play completely dedicated to the high school, and then you travel in the summer and travel in the fall. So, to be playing ever since I was 5 years old, 23 years ago, it's been pretty cool.
Definitely. That's how me and my brother first started. Me and my brother played T-ball and everything. Now he's like playing high school baseball and now travel. It's just like, when you reflect on those moments in Little League, you're like it basically kind of prepares you for where you are now, especially in high school ball. It's like sometimes with being in high school, you often come about time self-playing during the high school team. So it's like, that's the point of travel ball, is that like you have more opportunities to like play.
You're exactly right. It's a very gradual process. Every step along the way is important. And like you said, when you reflect back on it, it's a long time coming to get to this point. You don't just wake up one day and be a professional baseball player for the Railriders here. It's every little piece of your life goes into providing the scaffolding for what you're standing on in the current moment. So it's been a pretty cool journey so far.
Like, what is like your routine before each game? What do you think?
What's my routine? So it's funny. I'll play. So in the mornings, I'll play a little bit of video games when I first get up. Have some food. Get outside. Put my feet on the earth a little bit, and then when I get here to the clubhouse, it's pretty simple, honestly. Just get my body ready for these throwing programs that we do prior to batting practice. Do some soft tissue work. And then when you ultimately get to game time and you're getting ready to go into the game in the bullpen, it's just throw a few of those heavy, squishier plyometric balls, throw with the catcher, and then get on out there. But I'd say the most crucial part of it all is just visualization, getting those reps in your mind before you go out there and throw, picturing the stadium, picturing the batter in the box, picturing the sequence that you're going to use to get a guy out, and then when you get up there, it's much easier to stay calm and be able to execute the plan that you've created in your head already.
And do you think the fans play a valuable role in your performance?
Yeah. The fans can be many different things. The fans can be distracting. The fans can be energizing. They can be have a little bit of camaraderie with you. So they're multifaceted, the fans, and sometimes you have to tune them out, and sometimes you can embrace them for a little bit of extra energy. So it's basically being cognizant of where your headspace is at, and not allowing the fans to take you in a direction that you don't want to go. But if they're projecting you in a direction that you'd like to go, let their energy come through to you.
Especially Yankee fans. Like, Yankee fans can be very energized, especially fans around here, like AAA. It's just like a lot of Yankee fans like it come down to AAA, and when they're here, whether it's like at New York at the Yankees game or here at the Railriders Stadium, like there's so many Yankee fans that like are just so fired up for the game. Like my experience with them with this team is just like each game is just so surreal with the fans and the players as well. Because like every fan is energized and every fan is just trying to have a good time.
Exactly. No, you hit the nail on the head talking about Yankees fans. They're passionate.
Yeah.
The word I would use. They love their team and they want to see their team succeed. So when the team's not succeeding, you'll hear about it. You know, they might throw some negativity your way, but the way you handle it says everything about you. When you do inevitably come out of a downturn and start climbing your way back up, the fans will be right there to give you a boost and keep you going. So. Going back to my previous point, yeah, just letting the fans push you in a good direction, but also not letting them take you in a direction that you don't want to go in.
Oh yeah, and like, who do you think has the most energy, or basically has kind of like a big attitude for each game?
Here with the Railriders, or with the Yankees in general?
Either one.
Either one. I'd say with the Yankees in general, it's been Austin Wells. He's a catcher in AA right now, and I'm sure he'll be up here before we know it. And you know, he's a guy that I think if you ask anybody, he's a tremendous clubhouse presence and keeps the energy in a very good place. If we're losing, he keeps it light, and if we're winning, I mean, he crescendos the team into into a possible win streak. So I mean, love having him on a team. And then for here with the Railriders, I would say, man, who would I say? Tanner Tully's got a little bit of a quiet sort of demeanor, but when he talks, it's always something. It's always something funny. It's always something lighthearted. He keeps. If you need someone to kind of reset your mental on some days, he's the guy to talk to.
Yeah, there's always that one guy that always like jokes around in a bad situation. Like every clubhouse has to have that one guy who jokes a lot.
Exactly. You never really know if he's being serious. Like I don't think he's. I think I might have had one or two serious conversations with him since being here, but most of the time it's lighthearted, it's fun. He's a great guy to have around.
Definitely. And the last question I have for you is, what is some advice for baseball players that just want to make it in the majors?
Oh man, best advice I can give for youngsters trying to be in the majors, I would say it would be consistency. Going back to my previous point of the scaffolding being below you, from where you are in the present moment. It's basically about building that scaffolding coming up. You don't necessarily need to have the grand plan of, I'm going to put this piece here and this piece here, and then, next year I'm going to have this, and this. And, it's basically about winning each day, winning each week, and winning each month. Setting those small goals for yourself as you progress in your journey, because those goals will constantly change. My goals now as a AAA baseball player are completely different than my goals were in college and high school and middle school. So it's having a very general sense of your goal in the distance, your long-term goal, but then being specific and consistent with your short-term goals and how you're going to get there.
Definitely. Like, you're exactly right. And like, I just want to thank you so much for taking the time for today's game. I really appreciate you taking the time, and best of luck with today's game. I know you're definitely going to be great if you end up pitching. I know you like 2 days ago I saw you pitch, and you're absolutely terrific. I wish you the best of luck, and good luck to your team.
Thank you very much. I appreciate you taking the time to be with me and have a little sit down and chat baseball and chat about me. So it's been fun.